Welcome back to another video, guys. I'm back in my hardcore world, and my video intro was just a freeze frame because for some reason it deleted. So you don't really get an intro to this video. We're just gonna get right into it. The first 10 days of this challenge were just spent expanding the pit that we had last time. If you haven't seen that video, don't go watch it. The microphone was really bad. I have a new microphone for this video, so hopefully it sounds a lot better. But we didn't get that much done, just 4 little buildings, and then we started on this pit, which I'm now finishing. I decided to dig this down to Y level 16, because that's where iron would most likely be found. I think this is actually Y level 15 just because of how the stairs work down. And then once I was down here, I added a swimming pool so that I could get down here quickly instead of having to take the stairs every time. And then I also added these up here so that I could come up without taking the stairs, because that takes my hunger down really fast. And then to finish it all off, I add the axolotl that we had the first night of our challenge. After I finished that, I dug down to Y level negative 59. As you guys should know, this is where diamonds are most commonly found. Unfortunately, after strip mining for a good little while, I didn't really come across any diamonds, so I decided to come back up to Y15 and dig down in another corner of the sort of pit. And I got kind of lucky. I don't know how rare these are, but I came across one of these caves with all of these purple blocks. Amethyst, I think. I don't know. This is my first time playing Minecraft in a while. I don't know all the names of the blocks. But I decided to dig all of these out because I wanted them for the portal up top. Originally, I was going to use purple wool, but when I came across this, I decided that this would probably look just as good. And I mean, they do look pretty cool, so I decided, why not? Let's just go with that, and it'll look good enough. So yeah, I just spent a couple minutes getting all this. As you can see, I learned to get some better video editing, so there will be a lot more time lapses in this video so that you can actually see what's happening, rather than me just saying, then I did this, and then skipping to the end where it's all done. I then went back to strip mining, where I came across this diamond. I spent, I don't know if it was over 10 minutes or just under 10 minutes, but there was lava there was lava all around this. And so I spent forever trying to make sure that when I got the diamond, it wouldn't fall into the lava. Eventually I got the diamond, and yes, it was one single diamond. I started day 65 out by heading to the nether. I decided that I was finally ready to raid this bastion or Sebastian. I don't remember what they're called. So after some pro bridging, I guess you could say, I definitely sped that up by 20%. I was getting ready to get in there. I also didn't want any ghasts to like blow me up though, so I added a wall to separate me. And then all I had to do was kill a few of these guys who had golden axes or golden swords. I don't remember. A few of them had different weapons, and I knew that they would do a lot of damage, so I made sure to keep my distance from these guys. And in no time at all, there was one down. Now I just had to kill this other one. Unfortunately, my buddy over there decided he wanted to play a game of catch, and of course I can't just leave him hanging, so I decided to play catch with him. He wasn't very good. He missed my first 2 throws, and on the 3rd throw he kind of caught it, but it also killed him, which was sad for him, but I got the achievement, so I'm okay with it. And then I guess he told his buddy that I was playing catch, and so he came to play catch with me. This guy was a little bit better. He caught 2 of mine, and then on the 3rd one he ended up blowing me up instead. He was just a little too good for me. I wasn't quite on that MLB level that gas was, so I had to run away before I died. Because I almost died, I decided to add this little shelter. This looked really ugly, but it kept me safe going to and from the portal to the bastion. So I decided it was good. I then looted these chests. This one had some netherite scraps, and the other one had a netherite scrap as well, and ancient debris. So pretty good stuff that wouldn't help us for the rest of this video or the next video, I think, but eventually I'm sure it will come into play. And then after all that, it was back to strip mining, and this strip mining trip went much better. I think we were only down there for maybe like 8 minutes before I found 8 diamonds, so it was pretty good. I also started adding in this roof, which nobody wants to see me do by hand, so let me speed that up. I guess this is still me doing it by hand, but it's sped up, so it's faster. Yeah, wow, these video editing skills. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to subscribe, because this is some pro editing that I had to learn. I also moved my water buckets up there. I just wanted them like flowing down through the sort of room I was in. I don't really know how to explain it. It looked better though, and then that would also allow me to get rid of these white blocks, which just look way better in the end. Granted, this isn't actually the end because I didn't finish the roof. Now, that's the end. Okay, so yeah, it's looking pretty good. I thought it turned out alright. My next project started out with taking buckets of lava and water to once again make obsidian, which I would use to make a crafting table. Of course, everybody knows that a crafting table isn't going to be as good if you don't have bookshelves around it, so I collected my sugarcane to make paper, to make books, and then I fidgeted around a little bit. I didn't know how to make bookshelves, but eventually I figured it out, and bada bing, bada boom. Let's skip to the good part. There we have it, an enchanted table, or enchanting table, with all the books. That's good. My first upgrade that I got was a diamond pickaxe with unbreaking 3, so super lucky, super good stuff to have. After all of that, I went down to the mine that we discovered on the first night of the challenge in the last video. And when I came down here, I discovered a monster spawner. I didn't really do anything with the monster spawner. I just looted these chests. Nothing super good. A few things of horse armor and a name tag. The name tag, I guess, was actually pretty good. Everything else, I don't really care about. Half of it I just threw away along with a bunch of other stuff that I was throwing away. All of my chests were filling up and I didn't want them being so full, I guess, so I just threw a bunch of it away. And then I finished out that day by adding more glow berries outside with all of the bone meal I had been collecting over the last few nights. I want as many berries as we could, and so far it was looking good. The next very many days, I think it was just this entire 10-day span, was me cutting down trees and then terraforming. But it gave me this entire land that we'll now build a city on, so I'm super excited. Let's get right into building our city. I first headed to the nether because I would need nether quartz for this build, and just like that I had made 10 observers. I also needed a bunch of glowstone because, well, we would need it for the build. I won't say what the build is yet, I'll let you guys try to guess. But yeah, I just had to collect a bunch of materials, lots of redstone, lots of quartz. I already had a lot of cobblestone that I didn't need. And then I was finally able to make redstone lanterns, except for I wasn't actually able to make redstone lanterns because I didn't know how to. But after looking around in the search bar for a little bit, I just went to Google, looked it up. Turns out it's actually really easy to make redstone lanterns, and just like that I had made 33 of them, which wasn't going to be enough, but it was enough for a start. I then headed outside to start the base. This took super long for some reason. I think it was just the fact that it was a circle that it took me so long to figure this out. But eventually I figured it out. I then started by filling it all in with bricks and then extending those bricks upwards. This build took, as you can see, 2 weeks in Minecraft, so I'm just gonna kind of speed run through the entire thing because it'll take a while if I don't. Here's me starting the stairs, and then here's me. I don't know why I'm explaining what I'm doing. You guys could just watch, but I have a microphone in my hand, so I feel like I kind of have to commentate. So, here's me adding stairs. And then, yeah, I extended the white upwards a little bit, but after extending the white blocks upwards, I needed red blocks, so I went and found red flowers. At first, I was just finding these little red flowers here and there, but after probably about a day of wandering around the wilderness, I came across a bunch of rose bushes, and this would be more than enough for what I needed. So I spent maybe a minute collecting all of these really quickly, and then after I got all that done, I went back to my house. And I was quite a ways from my house, so it took all night. I ended up finding an old base I had found, but eventually I made it back and I could make my red concrete powder. I got straight to work turning my red concrete powder. Okay, now we get straight to work turning our red concrete powder into red concrete, which you guys already know what's about to happen. Here comes the time lapse because nobody wants to watch me do this all in real time. Otherwise, you'd be watching like a 3-hour video. which if I had an audience who actually liked me on YouTube, I might be able to post a 3-hour video. But this is my second full-length video, and yeah, you get the point. Lots of time lapse. We're just gonna jump straight to the wherever we're actually building this thing. Yeah, here it is. It's looking pretty good so far. If you guys can't tell by now, we're building a lighthouse. I feel like that's pretty obvious by this point with the red and white, and also having to get a bunch of glowstone lamps, or redstone lamps, whatever you call them. These inside stairs took forever for me to figure out, and they still weren't perfect, but overall I liked them good enough. And then this area up here I would change later on, but it was good enough. The problem with this build is I was looking at 2 different pictures of Minecraft lighthouses I liked, and then I was also trying to follow a tutorial on how to make it like a working lighthouse. But the tutorial was terrible, and it also wasn't the shape that I wanted, and so it did help me. I'm not saying like I did this all by myself. I definitely watched a tutorial to help me, but I had to watch like 3 tutorials because I don't know why people are just so bad at explaining stuff on YouTube. I probably wouldn't be any better. This is the part that was really hard. I spent forever trying to figure out how observers worked. And so basically how they work is you don't point to where you want it to go to, you point to where you want it to drag it from. So like this one that's pointing right now, it would be dragging from the block behind it, right? And so I was actually super close. If you just do it in a line like this, then they'll all end up correct except for a few of them. I don't remember. It was a big confusing process that took me forever. I kept on trying to figure it out. I just could not figure it out. I decided, oh, here's a good idea. Maybe I need more redstone to make it work. And so I went and got tons of redstone. That took me forever. And it just wasn't working out. I couldn't figure it out. And so I played around with it a little bit, and I mean, obviously eventually I figured it out. This was like super awesome. I laid it down and I was like so happy. I was just so happy that this was finally working out, because I had spent so long on this build at this point. So now all I had to do was get more observers and lights, and that's what it's looking like so far. I was also kind of sad right here because I thought it would light up as many lights as I put on top of it, but it only lights up 2 lights, which means I'd have to make this entire system again, but flipped and on top, which would take super long, but I decided it was worth it because this was about to be the coolest build I had ever made in Minecraft. I don't really want to show you all of that process because this took literal hours in real life, days in Minecraft. So I'll just skip to the part where it's mostly all complete. And just like that, it's mostly all complete. The main problem here was that the lights on top weren't lined up with the lights like spinning around on the bottom. And so I tried to fix that, and I think I added a little bit too much footage right here, so I'm just gonna have to lull for a little bit of time. The other day I fell off my bed and I almost broke my foot. I only ended up bruising my bone in my foot, but I didn't break my foot, so that was good. Anyways, here we are. This was insane. I tried to time it perfectly, and somehow I perfectly did it, just like that. First try, I got it all lined up. I don't know if that's actually hard to do. I feel like that's pretty hard to do though, so if you guys want to like congratulate me in the comments, feel free to, because I was feeling pretty good after lining that up perfectly first try. After all that, I think I went to bed or something. The next morning I found out that one of our villagers that we had taken back here in our last episode had been infected by a zombie. And I also thought that maybe he'll disappear, so I decided to give him a name. Except I didn't know how name tags worked, and so of course I had to look it up. The number of times I go to Google in this video off camera is insane. I don't know how to play Minecraft, guys, but I'm figuring it out as I go. Turns out you need an anvil to put a name on the name tag, and the name that I put on the name tag was Noi. There's 2 reasons we gave this guy the name Noi. The main reason was because when I went to randomnamegenerator.com, the name it gave me was Noi. But it was actually a very fitting name because in the many days to come, this guy would be very annoying. So yeah, very fitting name. I liked it. After giving him a name tag to make sure he didn't despawn, I headed back up to the lighthouse, I wanted to add a flagpole on top. Now, I won't end up adding a flag to this flagpole in this video, nor my next video. I don't know if we'll ever add the flagpole, but even if we don't add the flagpole, it looks good just being there, being all pointy, uppy, I guess. I'll show you guys a picture or video of it from far away. So there's our lighthouse. It looks super good. It's just so cool because it's working. Oh, I was just so happy with this build. Every time I look at this lighthouse for the next several hours of playing, I was just so proud of how it turned out. This was one of the biggest builds I had ever done. I decided I actually didn't like this top section because it made the area of white at the top. There's like a strip of white and it was super small, and I just decided I didn't like that. I don't know if I'm making any sense right now, but I decided to just take it down a block, which took forever to figure out because this was messing up the stairs on the inside of the building, and I really didn't want that to happen. So this actually did take quite a while to take it down a level, but in the end it looked pretty alright. I also figured out I didn't need these corner fencings to keep me safe. And there you go. There's our lighthouse, which is looking so good. And yeah, we'll move on to other things. Days 96 through 99. These were really boring. I made this mob farm, and I'd love to make a time-lapse of that, but this is the only interesting part. There were pillagers waiting down there for me. So the next morning I went down there and started attacking them. And by attacking them I mean standing there, not attacking them, just waiting to die. Now the reason I didn't put the mob farm in the video was because it didn't end up working, at least not very well. There were a few monsters that would spawn in there from time to time, but it wasn't a very effective mob farm. I'm not sure why, so I think it's still here by the end of this video, but I've already recorded the next video as well. We're doing 69 days today and another 80 days that'll be posted in a day or two. And I'm just gonna delete that entire thing because it looked bad and it wasn't working very well. I didn't commentate that last part, but it was pretty self-explanatory. I almost died to those pillagers. It was actually really close. And the number of times I've got super close to dying in this stupid world is just crazy. So yeah, there's the mob farm. I guess it doesn't look bad. Like, it looks kind of cool. It just doesn't match the whole theme of my village. Night 100 was crazy. I approached the skeleton horse, and it turns out it's actually a skeleton from Clash Royale, which just had the evolution update, because it spawned even more skeletons. I thought this was crazy. I looked up on Google. I was like, what are the odds of a skeleton horse getting hit by lightning? Turns out it happens 100% of the time. Here I was thinking something special happened to me. The only special thing that happened to me was I almost died. I escaped once again on half a heart. So first of all, the pillagers almost killed me. Then the skeleton horse, as well as the skeleton out there, almost killed me. So that's 2 times within the space of like half an hour that I almost died. But wait, just a second. When we jump to the next day, which is coming in just a second. Okay, there we are. On day 101, I decided to try to kill this Enderman. And everybody knows that the best way to kill an Enderman is just to make a space that he can't get into. Well, I didn't make this wide enough, apparently. Or I did make it wide enough, but I didn't have very good position underneath. And once again, I was down to half a heart. Now, obviously, I didn't die because this video still has like 10 minutes or so. I don't know how long this video is going to be. So I don't die. That's pretty obvious. If it says I survived another 69 days and we're only 50 days into the challenge, you know I'm not going to die. Otherwise, that's just false advertising on YouTube. Which does happen a lot, but I would never do that. I was just feeling crazy after this point. I wasn't even paying attention to what's happening in the video. Something might have happened. Night 101, I decided to capture Larry, and yes, I named him Larry because all skeletons are named Larry. Unfortunately, Larry didn't want to get captured, and so after fighting him a little bit, I decided whatever, and I just moved on. I went to this cave that I had found earlier. I forgot to add the video of this earlier in. This is connected to Y level 15. I started strip mining in every direction. Took a while until I eventually found this cave. Nothing super exciting happened. Found this chicken that somehow stayed alive. Well, stayed alive until I showed up. And then I also got a ton of clay blocks down there. I spent just like hours down there mining clay. I also got a good little bit of iron and coal, but clay was the main thing that I was down there for because I wanted bricks. Although I don't know why I wanted bricks, because I don't think I end up using bricks until after day 200. But at least I had them, and so if I ever did want to use them, we had them. I then made my lava pit a little more safe because I almost died after falling in one day. I don't think I include that footage either. It wasn't super close. I got down to like 4 hearts, so almost died isn't actually almost died. And then I don't even know what day this is, but I planted a garden, which I didn't know it at the time, but in the future this garden would actually end up helping us get the best armor possible. Not in this video, but come back in a day or two when I post the next video and you'll see just how much that garden helps us. Days 105 through 108 were spent in the nether. From the time I left my garden to the time, so I was searching for one of these nether fortresses. So from the time that I left the garden to the time that I stepped foot on the nether fortress took, oh, I don't know if it was 59 minutes or 61 minutes. It was either just under or just over an hour, so it took a while for me to find this place. I also almost died. I honestly don't know how I didn't die right there, because between the burning and the fall damage, it seems like I should have. I guess I did have Prot 2 on my lower half now, as well as Prot 1 on my chest plate and projectile protection on my helmet. I think that's what I wasn't paying attention to that happened earlier. So I had better armor, and that's the only reason I didn't die right there. I'm almost positive of it. It happened again. That time was even closer. So yeah, Prot 2 definitely coming in clutch right here, saving my life several times. This bridge took forever, but eventually I made it to the other side. And all I had to do after that was find the blaze spawner, which took way longer than you think it would. I think this took almost 15 minutes to find the blaze spawner. I found several blazes throughout. I'm not even including half of the footage. I found a lot of wither skeletons. None of them dropped any skulls though. And then I also fought a bunch of blazes, but it took a while before I actually found the spawner. Once I found the spawner, I just camped here for several days. I needed a bunch of blaze rods so that I could get Eyes of Ender. We won't go to the end in this video, but we will prepare for the end so that we can go and fight the Ender Dragon in my next video. If you guys want to see that, be sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video so that you'll stay up to date. And all I'm saying is my fight with the Ender Dragon was pretty intense. Had a pretty good, I won't spoil it, it was just good, okay? So come back in a day or two when I'm posting that, because it was really good. I'm trying to kill the last Enderman that I need to have enough Eyes of Ender to start up the End portal. Just like that. I now had 15 of them, which was hopefully enough to help me find the portal. Now, I forgot to start the recording in this next part, but I threw my first Eye of Ender and it started floating towards that village that we had come to earlier. So I figured maybe the fortress was underneath the village. Upon returning to the village, I found out that this place had actually turned into Hogwarts. There were witches everywhere. I mean, just everywhere. As well as pillagers. They were just running amok absolutely everywhere. I was hoping that the fortress was around here because that would make it super close. But when I threw my Eye of Ender and found out that the village, or the fortress, was not in the village, I honestly wasn't that sad because that was not something that I wanted to deal with right now. So I then spent hours, like literally hours in real life, trying to find the fortress, and it was quite a journey. It was thousands of blocks away, and I think I came to at least 2, maybe even 3 more villages before I found out where it was going to be. I also had a few side quests along my way, gathering hay bales from villages, collecting trees I had not yet come to. Eventually I came across the acacia tree, which meant that the only tree I now had to find was the cherry blossom. So we were getting really close on having all the trees, which I was super excited about. I was getting pretty close to the fortress when I came across this big crater area, which looked pretty cool, but was way too far away from my house for me to really do anything with. So I got a good look at it and then continued on my journey to try to find the fortress. Now, using methods of triangulation and whatnot, I was able to figure out that the fortress was somewhere around this area. I dug down until I found this cave and found out that I actually had come down too far, which was good news because that meant that the fortress was somewhere between this cave and the surface. So I had narrowed it down to a pretty narrow area. Now I just had to dig into these rocks. It was really dark, and so I'm not really going to show what happened. It was just a lot of digging around, and I was unsuccessful. I dug around for a really long time, and I just couldn't find anything. So I decided to come into the cave, look around. I found those 2 diamonds. Found a little bit of iron, maybe some other stuff. I didn't really gather anything, though. I mostly just wanted diamonds. And I figured the best way to do that was to go deeper down into the cave. So I went back to this deeper spot where it dips down. I decided that I would dig down to Y level -59 and try to find diamonds there. Now, this might seem a little scripted just because I don't even know how this happens, but while digging down, I happened to walk into the library. I was freaking out. I mean, this shouldn't have happened. This makes no sense. This wasn't even where the ender eye was going. It was going up and to my left. I was going down to the right of where the pearl or eye was going. And somehow I still ended up in the library, which is insanely lucky. Unfortunately, my luck would shortly run out. As I started looking for the portal room, I came to this dead end, which isn't a big deal, you know. It's actually good, it means less I have to explore. But then I came to this dead end as well, which didn't really make sense because it seemed like I had come across a library with 2 closets connected to it, but no way of actually getting to the end portal. I was honestly so confused. I was wondering if this was just like broken and that's why my eyes of ender weren't even coming to this place. I was so confused. But eventually, after finding out that there were no other passageways within the library, I went back to the passageways I was at before and decided to just start digging into the walls. I dug into this wall first. I only dug a few blocks in and figured there's probably not anything back there. And so I went this way next, and what do you know, just like that, I had come across the rooms. And not only the rooms, but the portal room was right there. I don't know what the odds of this. I just kept getting lucky and then unlucky. Lucky then unlucky. So there I was being lucky. And then here I am being unlucky. Because as I said earlier, I thought I only needed 3. Or not 3. I thought I needed 9 eyes of ender to get in there. Since it's a 3x3 portal. I don't know what I was thinking. But obviously you need 12. It's okay. I wasn't going to go to the end anyways. So I got some buckets of lava and water and made a portal. And so it was a little sad, but not the end of the world. When I came to the nether, I got the advancement for exploring all 5 biomes in the nether, which was pretty exciting. And luckily, because of how the nether works, I was actually pretty close to my other portal. So I only had to walk around for a little bit. It did take me a little while just because I wasn't sure which Y level my other portal was on. But it didn't take too long before I found this ugly, mugly mess. But I had never been so happy to see all of this garbage laying around the nether. And don't worry, if you think all of this looks really ugly, I'll fix it all up with a very smooth transition through this portal. Look at that! Oh my goodness, I'm pretty much a pro when it comes to video editing. When I got home, I crafted me some new armor. This armor was kind of a waste, now that I think about it, because this is day 115 and I'm making me some pretty good armor I also made myself diamond pants, which was my first diamond upgrade, and I got super lucky with that upgrade. The best upgrade I could have got was Unbreaking 3 along with Prot 4, and I got Unbreaking 3 with Prot 3, so it's only like a 4% difference in the end game. So I would keep these pants for like the rest of my days. The remainder of this video is just me preparing to go to the end, which, as I said earlier, we won't end up going to the end. And so if I've already posted the next video, it might just be worth clicking that one, skipping the last 2.5 minutes of this video. I went back to the Nether Fortress, killed one more blaze, because that's the only blaze I needed. I mean, I might have had to kill more had he not dropped a blaze rod, but I got the blaze I needed. I killed 2 more endermen, and just like that I was able to make the Eyes of Ender I needed. I then started making glass bottles because I watched a video on how to beat the Ender Dragon, because I've never done it up to this point, and it said that you want to bring glass bottles when you go to the end. So I had the glass bottles, and then I started turning all of my gravel into flint so that I could make arrows. I also want to give a disclaimer. There's probably a chance that I've called the end the Nether at some point in this video. I get the two confused a lot. So if I ever say we're gonna go fight the Nether Dragon or something like that, just assume this guy's kind of stupid and just pretend it all makes sense. I then returned back to this cave because I needed even more gravel. I don't know if I actually need more gravel, but the video I watched on how to kill the Ender Dragon said that you should bring 2 stacks of arrows. So I brought 4 stacks of arrows. And then I finished everything off by digging for diamonds. And this was our most successful trip yet. It only took about 46-47 minutes, and I was able to make complete diamond armor, which is why I now realize that the iron armor I made before was completely pointless. Well, yeah, that's gonna do it for today's video. We're looking pretty stacked. In the next video, we'll work on a few more projects, but pretty quickly we'll go to the end and fight the Nether Dragon. That was on purpose, I promise. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't, like the video, and stay tuned for more.